I'm Kevin Hodge, the General Curator here at the Houston Zoo, and we're joining you today live from our construction site. So we're in the midst of building one of the largest construction pieces that we have in the zoo, the new Pantanal section. And we're going to tell you all about it and walk through the construction site. And also Florence is here to help me out.
Hi, I'm Florence. I'm a project manager in the Department of Design and Engineering. I'm so happy to show you a behind-the-scenes tour of our construction site. As Kevin mentioned, this is South America's Pantanal, our newest exhibit, and it's a 4-acre site. Here we're standing on top of the VIP otter deck, and you can see this is our new exhibit for our giant river otters.
Yeah, and giant river otters it's the first time the Houston Zoo will ever have this species. We're really excited about it. It's the world's largest freshwater otter, and they can get to be close to 5-6 feet long from head to tail. And so we have 2 pairs that'll be coming into this exhibit. One of the things that's really cool when we were designing it, we wanted a space that was over 4,000 square feet, but also had a lot of pool space and a lot of land area. So they have 2 really big pools in this space that's connected by a water slide. So we'll be able to watch these otters go from one pool to the next pool, sliding on their belly on this amazing water slide, and some of the really cool land areas and trees and branches that you see here in the exhibit.
We have been working with very talented artists and consultants all across the country and with our field partners in Brazil to make sure that we are designing and building this exhibit with the character of the Pantanal. So as you can see, this is an eroded mud bank that is to the left of the screen here, and we've planted it with screening so that we can enrich the experience here as you're walking through the experience.
So one of the things that is pretty neat about the Pantanal is by visiting the Pantanal, you're helping to save animals in the wild. Just like visiting the Houston Zoo, you're helping to save animals in the wild. One of our conservation partners, Carolyn, who is working to save the giant river otter, is actually studying to see what impacts visitors have on the giant river otter. The more money that could come to the Pantanal area, the more land that can be saved, and we want to make sure we save plenty of space for these giant river otters. So we're super excited about this partnership and super excited about giant river otters. We have a lot more to show you, so you guys can join us, and we're going to move on to the next exhibit.
And what we can't show you right now, because it's still under construction, are their bedrooms. We're building 5 new bedrooms and 1 outdoor bedroom for these giant river otters.
This deck that we're on right now, that we're on top of, is part of our VIP experience. So this is an area that you can actually book for a special tour, come up and have a chance to throw fish right over to the giant river otters. And it's just a unique chance, unique area to get to see these otters up close and actually watch them as they swim through the water and slide down their slides. So now, as we continue to walk this way, we're approaching our Jaguar exhibit.
And part of what we have over in our exhibit is this Armadillo Burro. This is an interactive burrow that we are partnering with our field conservation partners, where we know that the giant armadillo is really the builder in the Pantanal. They're the ones excavating these burrows that become habitats for our other animals that are needing them for giving birth or for taking shelter or for finding refuge as they're out in the wild.
So they're kind of like ecosystem engineers. They create these burrows, and that's where they'll have babies at, but they move on after every few days, and so it creates these homes for lots of other animals. And our partners over there working in the Pantanal, working to save giant armadillos and giant anteaters, is Gabriel, Danilo, Deborah, and Arnaud. Especially, we really appreciate all the work they're doing. There are no giant armadillos in zoos in the United States, and so the best way to show what a giant armadillo is by a life-size sculpture and seeing the burrows that they have left behind.
And where we're standing right now is inside of the Jaguar Shelter. We have 2 jaguars, Maya and Tesoro, and we have built this beautiful new habitat for them with themed trees. Our zoo artists have been very busy at work making all of these trees out of armatures and making the texture so realistic here. We've also designed and built this catwalk so that after we install the glass in this shelter, you'll be up close and you'll be able to see and experience what the jaguars are like.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to tell right now, but where you're standing right now, that is on the guest side, and where I'm standing is where the jaguar will be, and there'll be a large pane of glass in between, 3 half-inch panes of glass, so over 1.5 inches thick, but it'll allow people to get a really close view. And I think my Antisora are going to love this habitat because there's lots of places for them to climb and jump, and it's over twice as big as the exhibit that they're in now. So we're really excited about them to move over. Speaking of moving over, if we come over this way, the jaguars will actually have a chance to move right over guests as they move from their bedroom area out to the exhibit.
So we've worked with SHR, Studio Hanson Roberts. They are our zoo architects based in Seattle, as well as Brave Architects here in Houston, to design this tree structure that ties into the architecture and the rock work, so that this bridge is a very unique feature of the Pantanal, so that when you're, as a guest, walking beneath the bridge, you could experience a jaguar crossing overhead. What you can't see are some hidden staircases that are only accessible by our zookeepers, but we have thought about what this experience would be like for jaguars as well as for our human zookeepers.
Can you imagine you are going to be right here and there's going to be a 110-pound jaguar just moving right overhead? It's going to be super cool to see. We're really excited about that. Let's continue this way.
So what we're about to see and approach is the bridge to the mixed species. We have a very large parcel of land here that we have dedicated for the habitat of capybaras, giant anteaters, tapirs, swans, and rheas.
Mm-hmm.
And what is really interesting about our bridge that we have nicknamed the Rickety Bridge is that in the Pantanal, when you're traversing and crossing through those wild lands, you will encounter these bridges over all kinds of water features. And so what we've done here is we've built a mixed species pool, and we didn't want to specify Ipe wood because we knew that the deforestation of that Brazilian hardwood has detrimental effects to our animals in the wild. So we used another type of wood that's more sustainable. It's called Termite ash. And then we also had a cable bridge, an adventure bridge, put into the side that will allow our younger guests and young at heart to traverse over the water. As Kevin mentioned, we have bronze sculptures throughout the exhibit to showcase the other animals that we have and that aren't part of our collection. And so we'll have a bronze caiman in the water, and a caiman is kind of like a South American alligator.
Exactly, yeah. And if we pan over this way, we can see the start of our mixed species exhibit. This is definitely one of our signature exhibits here in the Pantanal section at the Houston Zoo, because we're going to house so many species in this area. Like Florence mentioned, tapir, and we work with a great conservation partner in the Pantanal, Patty, that is working to save tapirs in the wild. Also, Arnaud and Gabriel and all those that I mentioned that are working to save giant anteaters and giant armadillos. But you'll see tapir, giant anteater, rhea, the swans, capybara over here. So there's lots of activity going on, and a lot of activity in the pool. This really deep pool that you have here, the tapirs are going to spend quite a bit of time hanging out in it, diving underwater, and moving all throughout this space. Whereas the capybaras might like a little shallow area, so we created this little ledge so they can easily sit in the water, still submerged, but not have to swim the whole time. So we're really thinking about how to make it best for each of these species. Whenever we start bringing animals here to the Pantanal exhibit, one of the things that we wanted to make sure is not only do the plants have plenty of time to get acclimated before we have animals here, but the animals have time to get acclimated before guests are to this area. So we have several weeks of plant acclimation time set up, and then about 6 or 8 weeks of animal acclimation time set up. So by the time that you're able to visit here, the animals are going to be very comfortable and used to their new home. So let's continue down this way.
Yes. And as Kevin was mentioning, we have built time into the construction schedule for plant acclimation, plant establishment, and animal acclimation. And the type of soil, we worked very hard to specify and procure the soil mix that we needed so that we could have our mix of native and flora that is popular in Brazil, including a pink tababuia tree. For those of you who are gardeners, you know that that's a really beautiful pink trumpet that has pink flowers.
Right here in front of us, you can see a termite mound. And so this is very similar to what you might see in the Pantanal, filled with termites. And the giant armadillo and also the anteater can rip apart the hard outside of this giant armadillo or this termite mound to get to the termites that are on the inside. That's one of their favorite food items. So we wanted to recreate it here through themed concrete to make you feel like you're actually part of the Pantanal experience. So right over here, we're looking into the Pantanero barn. So Pantanero is just a term for cowboys or ranchers that are working and living in the Pantanal area. This is going to be filled with all kinds of neat working material that we got from our partners in the Pantanal. Will be hanging on the rafters. And what's really cool about this space is it's a cool place for guests to cool off. It's nice and shaded in here, but it's also a nice place for the animals to cool off. So they have an overhang that you can see over the top. They could get right up really close to the people that are laying there with just glass separating the animals and people. So the people can cool off and the animals can cool off as well. All right, we're going to continue down this way.
Let's head straight over to the Savannah Aviary. We'll bypass the construction of the concrete floor. It's okay. We're good.
So as we walk down this pathway here, this aviary that you can see on the left-hand side, that is our old shoebill stork aviary. What we're transforming it into is a walk-through aviary that is really, really cool. This walk-through aviary will allow you to walk into the exhibit with over 10 species of birds that are flying in that area, and it's going to be pretty amazing to see. One of my favorite birds in this area is a bird called the Oropindala, and the Oropindala makes some really cool nests that we'll show you in just a second that droop down like a teardrop, almost like a basket, a woven basket that's hanging from the top. They're really noisy, they fly around a lot. They're going to be a lot of fun for everyone to get a chance to see. We'll continue. Oh, Florence is coming up here. This is what an Oropindala nest looks like. Could you imagine that a bird is such a good weaver and nest builder that it can build a nest like this? And it has a hole at the top, and it'll come down and lay the eggs in the bottom part of it. But these Oropindala nests are hanging in the Pantanal over trees, and they make such a wonderful nest. So we're hoping after these Oropindala that we have move into this space, you'll start seeing these nests appear as they start building their own nest and reproducing.
So our theming artists created these using water balloons and resin, and they hand wove these nests for this exhibit.
So Alexander was wanting to know, he saw a snake on the Pantanal sign. We are going to have some snakes here in the Pantanal. We're going to have two, the emerald tree boa and also the anaconda, so the world's largest species of snake. And the anaconda has this really cool exhibit where kids and adults alike can climb under the water and have an anaconda laying right on top of them. So can you imagine the world's biggest species of snake right on top, and you could crawl right underneath it. So my mom tunes in and watches every single day, and one of her favorite animals are birds, particularly macaws. So this is Denver the macaw, and we're joined by Lisa, one of our keepers. And Denver's been here for quite some time. Denver is a macaw that you would find in South America. That's probably, and he is a blue and gold or blue and yellow macaw. And it's similar to the macaw species that we're going to house here in the Pantanal section. So Denver is an ambassador animal, so he'll come out for presentations. But the macaws that we have here are a little more endangered that'll be in the Pantanal section. We will have the blue-throated macaw. So the blue-throated macaw is one of the critically endangered birds that you could find in the Pantanal area. So Denver's just showing you how beautiful he is, spreading out his wings like that, and you can see the bright yellow color that is underneath it. And we have a lot of construction noise that is going on over here right now. So Denver's kind of taking in all the sights and sounds and watching what is going on. One of the things that's kind of unique is if you look on the side of Denver's face, you can see those little black feathers. So those feathers are kind of like a fingerprint. So every macaw has a little different pattern, different set of feathers that you could find right in that area.
So, as Kevin mentioned, this is a walkthrough aviary. We were sad to lose our shoebill. He went to a brand new home, but we're so excited that this can be an up close and personal experience for our guests to come through and be in the same airspace as our collection animals. And we didn't get a chance to go through our eco lodge where we have more animals in our collection, where we'll have howlers, tamarins, and a goody. And then we'll also have a fish tank that's sandwiched between the otter exhibit so that you can get an experience as well underwater.
All right, guys, I really enjoyed getting to walk through this construction site with you. We thought it was really neat to show you something that you're not going to be able to see for a while, but you kind of see the process that it's going through. We want to remind you that we are reopening on June 3rd. We're really excited about that. So if you want to go online right now, you can reserve your tickets today at noon. So shortly after this broadcast, go online, reserve your tickets, and then we look forward to seeing you on June 3rd. So please keep coming back and keep tuning in. So the tickets today are online only today at noon. 12 o'clock Central Time, online only, today at noon. We're so excited about reopening, and we are so excited to have you join us again here at the zoo. It's been such a long time without having visitors here. We can't wait to have you back. Hope you guys enjoyed getting to see the Pantanal section. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Come see us later when we reopen when the exhibit for Pantanal opens later this year.